And welcome to the podcast, guys, with Rob and Nando. Today we have another lovely lady on the show, and before we have her introduce herself, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel on YouTube. The podcast, guys, we are on there 24/7. You can watch all our videos that we've uploaded, our shorts, the clips, and we are here. We're here going strong. Also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, the Podcast Guys _ We're also on X, the Podcast Guys 5, on Facebook, the Podcast Guys, and Spotify, the Podcast Guys. So check us out there. Like the video and support your boys, because now we are going to introduce a lovely lady on the show. Welcome, welcome. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself by telling us your name, age, occupation, which we can see here a little bit, and you're going to get into that in a second. Highest level of education, nationality, and dating status.
All right, let's see if I can remember all of these. So thank you guys for having me. My name is Leah. I am born and raised Jersey girl, Italian American, and proud of it. I am a graduate from the University of Rhode Island. My education did not stop there, though. I am certified WSET Level 2 Wine Spirits Education Trust. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit. And marital status, I am married. All right, did I hit all the questions?
You did. And you said nationality. Did you touch on that?
Italian American, baby.
Yes, I think I heard you say that. Awesome. Welcome, welcome to the show, Leah. We're happy to have you on. And why don't you kind of get into a little bit of what you do? Yes. We're going to, of course, get into our activity here in a bit, but why don't you just discuss that for us?
Yeah, I did bring some goodies. So I have been working in the spirits and events space for my entire career, which is well over 10 years now. But I am a cocktail educator, as I like to call myself. So my company is JERSEYDRINKS, and I'm hosting in-home private cocktail mixology classes. I do spirits tastings, tequila and chocolate, whiskey and cheese. I also do a bit of private bartending, sip and shop. So if you need a cocktail or a mocktail for any occasion, I'm your girl.
Cool. Awesome, awesome. Well, welcome to the show. We'll get into a little demonstration a little bit later on in the show, so we're excited for that. But Rob, why don't you start us off with the first question?
I keep looking at the drinks. I can't wait to get to that portion of the podcast. Yeah, so let's get into it. So finally, we have a guest on that is actually married and in a successful marriage. You and your husband have been together for 5 years, which is awesome. Congratulations to you guys.
Married for 5, but we've been together for 10, 11 years. We met in 2013. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely have to get into some marriage questions, because everybody up till now was either single or divorced. We talk about marriage from time to time, but again, we've never been married. So we want to ask somebody that knows what they're talking about, somebody that's experienced it. So my first question for you, something I hear a lot from other people is like, marriage is work. Once you get into a marriage is work. Can you tell us what it's like transitioning from dating life to marriage? What changes? What's the marriage life like?
Yeah, it's funny, when we first got married, we were just sort of like, doesn't really feel that different, whatever. But, kind of going through phases of life, I'd say the biggest one for us was getting married a few months before the pandemic happened. So we were kind of just forced into this, like, that's it, you guys are stuck literally together every day, all day inside. So I feel like that tested our marriage kind of early on. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so, going through the pandemic, we were, again, forced together kind of to live every day, waking hour. And we kind of got through that, and, we learned a couple things about each other, but still tried to manage having our own space. But, as we kind of progressed in our relationship, we bought a house, which was kind of like one of life's biggest events.
Yeah, of course.
So you kind of go through that, and you just sort of develop and grow a little bit. So that was definitely, taking our relationship to the next level as individuals, but as a couple, and just, moving in together. My husband had moved into my apartment at the time, so it was really creating like a new space for ourselves. So just kind of trying to navigate, like, now what does our new home look like? And, he's trying to help me out with like the paint. I'm like, actually, I like this color. So, just kind of really trying to bring our lives together in that capacity. But hasn't changed all that much, Again, just some learning curves along the way, and just building sort of something new together. So
back when you guys were still dating, how did you know, like, okay, I think this is it. I think this is the person I want to marry? Because I think a lot of people, when they're in a relationship, it's kind of scary when you're like, wow, this might be, this might be it. Like, how did you know, like, okay, I think this is the person I'm going to marry?
I don't know if you're going to like or hate my answer.
Yeah.
But it is, for me anyway, was kind of cliche what they say, when you know, you know.
Yeah.
And I just like remember we met, it was a Sunday Fun Day Wicked Wolf situation. A lot of drinks were had. But then we kept talking a little bit. We hung out a few times. I was just like, I don't know, like something just kind of feels different. Didn't feel like a lot of games and chasing and, all that nonsense. And it just felt easy, which I think was something in my past relationships. It was always, like I said, playing games or, holding up your cards and, not being as honest. And it just felt right. So I think, it just kind of felt like, I think I know. I think this is it.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, because I think if you're dating somebody and you see there's no game playing and it kind of feels natural, I think that's a huge sign that that's the right person. So shout out to you guys. That's great.
How about, just to get right into it, keys to a successful marriage? You've been married for 5 years. You've known each other since 2013, as you said before. And we can say that, there has been success because you've been together for so long and you've been married for so long. So for anyone out there that may be married right now and struggling,
sure,
and could use some tips on some successes in marriage, what do you say to those folks? And for people that hope to get married, what are some successes? What are some keys to a successful marriage that you've experienced?
Absolutely. And it is, again, I think, right, it's things we hear, we talk about. Honesty is the best policy. If you're in a relationship and there's no trust, like, what are you doing? I don't want to, you're getting together with your buddies from high school or college. Like, I don't want to be sitting around questioning or stalking everyone's Instagram. Like, no, like, I fully trust you. Like, go out, have fun. And I think that kind of lends itself to having your own life, like not doing everything together every waking second of every weekend plan. That I think it's important to have your own kind of lives still and keep your own identity. I feel like I hear that a lot. People feel they get stuck in a marriage and I've lost myself, but it's like, no, you kind of got to, work. You said marriage is work. You do kind of got to work to make sure you keep your own identity a bit. I'd say communication is also really key. Growing up, we're told like, don't talk about how you feel, don't let him know that you like him. But kind of what I said earlier, like, I wasn't playing games. Like, I was honest for the first time in, my life. And I think that is still something that comes up a lot. Maybe I had a really bad day and I just, I still struggle about talking about how I'm feeling. And he's like, what's going on? I'm like, and you say, and you get it off your chest and you put it out in the open, and then that other person is there to support you. And I'd say also, to build on that, another thing that we've, found a lot of success in is supporting that person and being there. You can't always give 100%. If I'm at, 50, oh shoot, got to check me on my math. If I'm at like a 20, you put me at a 90. So like you kind of step in when, you got to pinch hit for the other person on your team. You are a team. So I think those have been some things that have worked really well for us.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have a really good balance between, like, marriage life. You still have your own things. Like, I'm sure he has his hobbies or friends. You have your own hobbies and friends. And I think that's important because, I'm trying to imagine, I've never been married, but if you live together, you're always around each other, right? And there's going to be times where you're in a bad mood or you argue or whatever. These are just natural things that are going to happen. So, yeah, it sounds like you guys have a great communication. I hope, you guys can, take something from that, because that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty big. And I'm sure you have things that you haven't accomplished yet that you are expecting to accomplish in the future. So what are you thinking as far as you and your husband having some future goals that you haven't accomplished yet? What are some things you're looking forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a good one. I said we just moved a couple of years ago. It'll be 2 years. So I think that was a nice check on our our future goals. Yeah. But we do love to travel. So we kind of actively think about, what we're saving for and kind of just building a plan around, getting to do those travel goals. I think that's really important for us. If we end up having a family, we don't know what's in the cards, but I think making sure that we maintain kind of doing the things that we love together is certainly something that I think we kind of actively want to keep doing, and just building kind of, again, like I said, our foundation. We kind of love real estate. Like, we want to save up to get some more investments and just kind of really build and grow together.
It's awesome. You always have to, build and grow. I mean, you start sort of from the bottom. Again, once you get married, I would presume so, because dating versus marriage is a different animal compared to dating. So you're kind of starting and you're building up something new there. And that's part of it. Building together, I think that's huge. So that's something that people should look forward to within a marriage.
Absolutely.
How old were you guys when you met?
I was 23.
Nice. You know, we were having a cool conversation before we started filming about how, because we're all roughly the same age, and we used to all go out to the same bars, it turns out. I think one of the challenges, like as somebody that's single at the age of 38, is meeting new people, because we used to go out all the time. We used to be out multiple times a week. You had a large social circle, a lot of friends. And now it's like work, go home, work, go home. Maybe you go out on a weekend if you feel like it. So meeting people is kind of a challenge, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, most definitely. How do you see people that, you know, you're married, of course, people that you know, friends that you know that are single, dealing with that part of life when, you know, most of their friends are married?
Yeah, no, I mean, you definitely hit it. I feel like people don't go out as much anymore. I always try. I do still have some single friends. I am always trying to look and to hook them up with people.
Nice.
Never know.
You're a good friend.
Exactly. Because, I always truly believe that there is someone out there for you waiting. And I still think, give it a shot, talk to people. And, if your coworker wants to invite you out, like try to have that open mind. So I still think, it's out there. And there's obviously the dating apps, which is great too. But like, look at your network, right? They say that to kind of grow your career. Like, why not think about your personal life a little bit and use the connections that you have and kind of see who's out there?
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, they do say that your network is like your net worth.
Absolutely.
But it's not only money related. It's just about the community and people that you have surrounding you and
100%.
Lifting you up day in and day out.
Exactly.
So I think that's very important.
You're running in a circle with people you like to hang out with anyway. Like, clearly they're going to be around similar people. So why not?
Exactly. You want to be around like minds and, continue on. Maybe everybody has a different path, but at least you can share a lot of things together and learn from each other and grow.
Exactly.
Do you expect to have children at all in the future?
We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I'm a little bit of a type A kind of personality, so I do like to try to plan for things, but I think this is one area of life where you kind of need to just, go with whatever the plan is for you. And
believe me, I'm with you on that one.
Let's see what happens.
It's something that crosses my mind all the time, because I'm like, wow, like a lot of my friends, whether they're married, divorced, single, a lot of them are having kids or have kids that are already, 3, 4, 5 years old. So I'm like one of the last of the Mohegans in that sense. So
same here.
But the pressure's there because, you can always have kids later, but you don't want to be a parent at the age of 60 either. So it's like, totally. That stress is there.
Yeah. And we are, most of our friends, like you guessed, are definitely married and they're on their second kid. But you know what? It is what it is. Everyone's on their own journey. Like
exactly.
We like to travel. We both are really ambitious in our careers. We both have full-time jobs. I have a side job and a full-time job. So if it's meant to be, it'll be. And
you got to do it when you're ready, basically.
Exactly. So
you don't feel under that lady's time clock pressure that they feel where, hey, eventually there's a time where, hey, I have to have a kid because my time may run out because it's not as healthy to have a child when you're older, even though it's a possibility. There are, ladies that have children in their 40s, but it makes it more difficult. Do you see that as something that kind of, well, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's not a big deal. But if it doesn't, am I going to miss out on that?
Yeah. I mean, it is a whole different journey and a part of life and a new chapter and experience that you can't really understand until you live through it. But I guess I forgot to answer one of the questions. I am celebrating the 5th anniversary of my 30th birthday this year.
Oh, congratulations.
So thank you. But it's funny, is like I said, my friends all have 1 kid, 2 kids, and they're a little bit older than me. And so I'm like, they're having kids. Like they put this on you like, oh, you're a geriatric pregnancy. What? I'm like, I got geriatric hangovers. Like, I don't
yeah, exactly.
So, I think with the information that we have now too, like we're taking better care of ourselves. We're working out. We're actually like looking at what we're putting into our bodies that I think, back then when they were concerned about women having children at a later age, like we just know more now. And so I consciously do those things. Like I work in alcohol, so I'm very conscious of what I'm doing. And I'm not too worried about it.
Well, it's like they say, the 30s are the new 20s. So
I'm here for that.
Yeah, exactly. We all are.
Yes.
And I think if we take care of ourselves properly, our bodies don't have that much of a different feeling compared to in our 20s. However, we do, of course, have to be more cautious with what we do. We do want to take care of ourselves at the end of the day. So.
Yep, absolutely. Garbage in, garbage out. We don't want that.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you guys go about like making big decisions together? Because you mentioned you bought a house, which is probably one of the biggest purchases anyone's going to make, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's a big decision, right? Because it's financially impacting for 30 years. How did you guys choose? Like what town, what type of a house?
Yeah.
I'm sure you looked at a bunch of properties. How do you make big decisions like that together?
Yeah, absolutely. So we lived in Hoboken together for 7 years. I was there for 10 and I loved it. I was working in Jersey City at the time where I still work. So before we kind of were getting serious, we just sort of like talked about like the future. What would it look like? What are things that we want? You know, again, coming from Hoboken, the restaurants, accessibility, you know, the public transportation. So we kind of would think about things like that and just, you know, have casual conversations. And, you know, we would always kind of come back to one or two towns. I mean, I'm a Bergen County girly and I was not, you know, love Morristown area, but I was like, no, we're coming back to Bergen. And, you know, he's like, okay, I could get behind that. And so as we started getting a little bit more serious, like those things almost kind of like manifested. And then, you know, when we got more serious, started looking at the houses that we were looking at, and it just sort of kind of all fell into place. I know the housing market is kind of crazy right now.
Yeah.
So we definitely kind of just went for it, you know, what they say, feel ready, but, you know, just kind of got to go for it. When you know, and we were kind of ready to get out and we found the right house and we just went for it. And then, you know, crunched a lot of numbers. My husband is a CPA. So
Yeah, I'm sure that helped. That's cool. Yeah.
Awesome. Big pro and con family, pro list, con list, sleep on it. So we do try to take that approach and it worked out. So far, it's been working out. So
That's great.
Awesome.
no rash decisions.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, you know, you have to go for it, but at the end of the day, it seems like you guys had a solid plan before diving into something.
Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, just to get into a deeper level of marriage, it seems like nowadays that folks that do get married out there get married for the wrong reasons. They get married because men see women as, okay, I have to get married because she wants me to or she might leave me. Do you feel that that's a pressure that your husband may have felt before you got married?
I don't think he felt pressured to propose. I was never really like an ultimatum kind of girl. I think that you have to be in it for the right reasons. It's not you, and right, kind of what I said earlier. It's like if you're feeling some kind of way, like you need to talk about those things, right? We're talking about big decisions, big life-changing decisions that like if you're not on the same page and like just because you think one thing like doesn't mean that it's necessarily true. So I think you got to both be in it for the right reasons, or else you're gonna, you know, 5 years you're gonna have a kid, you're gonna have 2 kids, and you're gonna get divorced, and it's gonna be terrible. And like you come to find out, like I never wanted this anyway. Well, I only did it because I thought you wanted me to. So
Yeah.
it's, you know, it goes back to that open communication and that trust and like hearing what the other person is, you know, truly feeling. Like I wouldn't want to get married just because I thought that's what you wanted me to do. So yeah, we don't encourage that.
You know, to your point, because I like everything you're saying about the communication thing. I think that's one of the key things to look for in a partner is like good communication, because that's like, we talk about all different types of stuff, attraction and physical looks and money. It is important, of course.
Don't
we
get
talk
me
about
wrong.
that every week.
Exactly.
But the communication part of it, I mean, you know, especially once you get into the serious, you know, marriage, buying a house, kids, you have to be able to talk about that stuff. So, you know, it's all adding up.
100%. And the other thing is, of course, the add on to this is men are typically loved with the condition that they can provide, protect, etc. Women, children and dogs, let's say, or pets, are loved unconditionally. So do you think that women are going into it for love, as it should be, or are they going into it because they see a man for material things and opportunities?
I feel like there's probably 2 types of women out there, and the people that are going into it for the reason of, you know, they got deep pockets. I think they call those gold diggers.
Yeah. Yep.
It's probably not going to work out in the end.
Right.
So I'd say, you, like I just said, you kind of got to do it for the right reason.
Yeah.
If you don't have that connection, that attraction, like you're just going to be sad. I mean, money can buy me a really nice handbag, but at the end of the day, like you're going to go to bed sad and lonely, sleeping next to your husband. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
Right. So what you're kind of describing there is a marriage, but an empty one at that, because if those folks get involved and they are together for the wrong reasons, it's gonna end up just being a divorce statistic at the end of the day. So You make a great point.
Go with your gut is something I've been learning a lot over the years. And like, you get that gut feeling and you either, like I said before, like I kind of had that feeling and it was a good one and I went with it and I trusted it. And usually when you have that gut feeling, you got to listen to it.
Yeah, I agree. You could always trust your gut. Like you may not even have like the proof, if you will, but like you could always trust your gut.
Yep.
Definitely.
Do you know anybody that got recently divorced? Do you know any people that went through it? The only reason I'm asking is
someone's friend, but honestly, like my friend group, right? We're talking about surround yourself with great people. Like all of my friends, we all met kind of around the same time. Everyone was working together, and we were all young, and we've seen each other in these relationships, and everyone's still together and happy. And so
that's great.
I'm fortunate to be around, other great couples, and I just see that. So
yeah, it's great to hear. No, all I was gonna ask is like, what do you think is like the most common cause of marriages eventually falling apart? Is it like you said, maybe they went in it for the wrong reason, or they jumped in it too fast and then like went separate ways? Like, what do you think causes divorces?
Yeah, I would say definitely something we touched on. It's like you go in it for the wrong reason, and like maybe they really wanted kids, or maybe they wanted to pursue a career across the country and they were being held back and they feel like they just wasted their life to stay here. So yeah,
there's definitely something that's not adding up between the two people that is enough to just break them up.
Yeah, and like, sometimes if people rush into things and they maybe hadn't explored the relationship enough, and then they, 5 years later, like they've kind of grown into the, adult that they were meant to be, and they find out that like we don't have everything in common. This isn't, it's just it wasn't right.
Yeah.
Now, is it right for people to believe in divorce? Because the thing is that you get married and you expect a happily ever after,
of course,
right? And then a beautiful ending to the story, of course, continues on with children and the generations to come, whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
What's your take on even divorce being a thing at all?
Sure. I feel like, right, what I kind of alluded to, the reason maybe you get divorced is you didn't get to follow your dream or your passion. And I think it does come to a point where you do, at that point, you're like, I kind of got to put myself first now. And then you kind of got to make that decision. So, is that what we hope or wish for? To your point, right? You want your happily ever after. But then it's like, if I'm still in this, like, what good is that doing? Especially then if you think about it, you have kids in it, like, staying together for the kids, honestly, I don't think it does the kids any good, because then you're, dumping those traumas on them and they're seeing an unhappy, unhealthy relationship. Whereas, maybe it didn't work out, but you're teaching your kid that like, hey, I stood up for myself. I pursued what I believed in, and that you can kind of teach them. So I think, is the outcome you hope for and you want? No. Do I think it's wrong? No. And I think that it's almost, you're making a tough decision once again. So again, got to go with your gut on that.
Yeah, 100%. And you say you guys travel a lot. So when you travel, is it, for the most part, it's together, or do you do your separate things? How do you go about that?
Yeah, a little bit of all of the above. We both travel a bit for work. I do a lot of domestic travel. My job kind of takes me to different events, different cities. So I definitely have that opportunity. But it's great because, I'm going to Mexico City in a couple of weeks. But I'm kind of tacking on to that. So my husband's going to come down for a couple of days. So we try to be, strategic when we have those work opportunities, turn them into a little bit of for fun. But then we definitely still, do our own thing a little bit. Like I'm going away with my two best friends for a girls trip. We're just, we need to get out of this freaking cold that we're living in.
It is cold. It is cold. That's true.
Yeah, so you kind of got to, still do your own thing. Like I said earlier, I think that kind of helps, take a beat, take a break, and lets me, still feel like I have my girlfriends and my own life and my own kind of relationships. So we try to do a little bit of both.
Okay. Is it fair to ask now that, it's kind of like a girls trip?
Yep.
Do you see that you have that trust, respect, communication with your husband for him to say, okay, go ahead and definitely take a few days with you and your girls, and that he's okay with that? He expects nothing to happen. You're going to come back home in one piece. Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, we're very, we've built our relationship on that trust, and that communication, and just, I'll check in with him. And I think that kind of goes back. Like if you're not in a trusting, happy relationship, like, yeah, someone's going to go on a girls trip. They're going to cheat, but I'm very happily married and my girlfriends are in great relationships too. So like we were literally going there to just hang out and have a good time, and we'll check in with the guys, and someone wants to buy us a drink. Cool. We'll take the drink. No shame telling that to him. He's like, great. great, get a free drink. And I'm like, thanks, see you later.
Yeah, I guess that trust
And
gets
I'm
built.
honest. I'm honest with the guy. Thanks for the drink. I'm married, not interested, but thanks for the espresso martini.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, all I was gonna say is that I guess like you obviously build that trust over the years. So you guys dated for some years before you even got married. So you guys know each other very well by the time you got married. So there's no trust issues or like where are you going, who you're going to be with type of conversation because you both trust each other at this point. So.
Okay, and then I mean, I will challenge that a bit because of course our viewers are going to say, well, she's going on a girls' trip.
Yeah,
things could happen.
Yeah,
that's true, and we do tell the folks out there that it should be more of a, even though of course everybody does their own thing, respect to everybody, but it should be more of a, if she's going to go on a trip with her girls, husband should be there, so it's more like, make sure that nothing happens type of deal. So I'll just challenge your take on that. Of course, everybody does their own thing. You're going to do your own thing. You have your own trust, respect, communication with your husband, which is, definitely something that's honorable.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I definitely, myself, I'll tell the viewers out there that, girls' trips, especially marriage, is something that aren't going to happen. It's going to be more like, hey, you got to take the time to go and be with your woman too, to make sure that things go as planned.
All right.
So
next time we'll get a room for the guys to stay in together.
Hey, there we go.
Sausage party, sausage fest.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we still on a budget. I don't have no shame. I'm sharing a bed with my best friend since we were 8 years old. So we're hanging out with each other. The guys can get the joint room next door.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic because it could go either way, right? Like we've done topics where we talk specifically just about that, and I'm trying to put myself in somebody's shoes. I guess it also depends where my girl or wife would be going and with who, right? If it's with close friends that she's known for a long time and they're going, like you mentioned, you're going to Aruba, right?
Going to Aruba. I need to get my tan.
It's a nice place. It's a nice place.
What would concern me is more like a Vegas, a Miami, like places that are known to be party animal type of spots. Because you go there for different reasons.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah,
situational.
So it depends on the place.
Yeah. I can get behind that.
I have to throw this in there. How do you feel about bachelor parties and bachelorette parties? How do you approach that one?
Yeah. I'm thinking because we have both been on respective bachelor and bachelorette parties to both of the cities that you just mentioned.
Oh, okay.
This was your own before you got married.
No, well, yes, I did go to Miami for my bachelorette party. It was a good time. But my husband has been on boys trips, bachelor parties all to Miami, and it was fine. We went with it, but I guess thinking back, I'm like, these guys are out there freaking space until like 4 a.m. I'm like, hello, is your phone on? Like,
it has to like
did you guys get toilet paper for the Airbnb? Like, I'm thinking about these things, like so I guess you're right. Oh man, it's true.
It does give you a little tense on the lady side, right? When guys are off doing that sort of thing as well.
There's a lot. The guys rolled deep, though. I'll give them that. There was like 10 dudes on that trip, maybe even more.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Hopefully they have a few spots, not all in one location.
We don't know.
We took one of our friends out for his a bachelor party, and we took him to a strip club, and he behaved.
Ooh.
If they're watching this, they probably know who I'm talking about. He behaved. He did not cross line. We tried to get him a lap dance. He said no. So, but you have to have a good level of trust in somebody. I have to say, because I would say I'm more like the jealous like type. If my girl tried to go to a bachelorette party, never mind in another state, I'll be going crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, either side, I don't think should necessarily do the men to the women and the women to the men. I think there should be more respect where it doesn't happen, or it's okay, girls trip, but the guys join and they're nearby the vicinity, and vice versa. Because I know the girls, as you said, guys going to space at 4 a.m. Where are you? I just want to make sure you're okay, type deal. So you want to have that sense of security as well.
Well, if I can get my friends' husbands and boyfriends to come on the trip.
I guess it's not easy, right, to get everybody to come on because it's all, they have families too. I'm sure some of them have kids, work. So there's a lot of constraints and conditions in the way as well.
Totally. But I think it's kind of what you're saying, like, put some boundaries in place, like check in with me, or like, we have social media, like send me a Snapchat so I know you're actually where you say you are. Like,
and I think a lot of arguments and jealousy could be kind of fixed way ahead of time by having that type of communication. Because if you're communicating throughout the trip, like, hey, this is what we're up to, the person doesn't have to be up your ass, right? They're not going to ask you, where are you? What are you doing? If you're checking in from time to time. And I'm not saying every waking hour of the day, because that's crazy, but like, hey, we're going out to this place, send a picture. And I think that helps build trust.
Yeah. How about even a solid FaceTime once in a while?
There we go.
FaceTime?
Yeah. You can't fake that.
Nope.
Can't fake that at all. So unless you're really a wizard of some sort, but
I don't know with AI these days. Jeez.
You never know. There's things out there that you actually never know. There's probably ways that people can figure it out. So how about intimacy within marriage? How, people, they wonder, that the ones that don't get married, they wonder, okay, if I get married, especially the guys going into a marriage, how much intimacy is there going to be? How much sleeping with one another is there going to be? Is there, because that's a huge factor in a successful relationship, whether people want to say it or not.
100%.
It's huge. We're physical beings. It's a natural thing. So what's your take on that?
Dad, if you're watching, turn it off.
Just you turn it off. Everybody else watch and subscribe.
Keep watching. No, I totally agree, right? Like we talked about, building a trust and but like there is that physical connection. Like if you guys aren't, enjoying that side of a relationship, you're just roommates, you're just friends. But I do feel like, marriage gets a stigma and it's like, oh, we're married, no one has sex anymore or whatever. But like I said before, we just bought a whole ass house and there's a lot of rooms in that house.
There we go.
How do you keep it spicy? Buy a house. No, I'm kidding, bud.
You gotta give him that hot food and smell that thing. You get me?
That's it.
That sound always makes me laugh.
But and for us too, it's great. Like I said, I travel for work. He travels for work. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, amongst other things, when you're away from each other.
That's true. That's
but
true.
And it's you're young, you're dating, you're doing things with people, but like it is there's a true bond and feelings, and like it's a little sappy, but like it's nothing to worry about.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you're not worried about looking for the next time. I just know where to go.
Yeah, there you go. That's good, because some guys are worried that they're going to get married and it's going to be not only a sleepless marriage, but a loveless marriage. And I think that's a huge part. I think that's important, not just to men, to women as well.
Yeah.
But it seems like women cut it off a little bit more.
Yeah.
More than not. More than the guys, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think it's something, right? We were talking, right? Marriages work. Like, that is something you kind of got to work at. Like, we are all busy. We're tired. And, like, I'm not going to sit here and say it's like, multiple times a week, every week. But,
right.
If you find yourselves like, shit, like, we haven't been home, we haven't spent time together, like, let's, let me, try to take the initiative or like, realize that like, hey, we haven't, worked on this part of our relationship that is very important to a successful marriage and relationship. So you got to put in the work a little bit.
Heck yeah. And how about a message to the ladies out there that withhold that from them? You say, hey, you have a lot of rooms in your house where I'm sure you guys take advantage of pretty nicely. But how about the ladies that don't even really give the time of day to their husbands and are, mostly doing other obligations? Forget even having kids in play, because, you have kids involved, you have to give them time and things of that nature. You have to be there for them after school. And then, you both get home from work, or one of you get home from work. So there's dedication to the kids. We understand that. But for those that have the time, or, have maybe their kids in an activity and they have time, or maybe they don't have kids and there's time, what message do you have to the ladies to let them know, hey, you should do more for your husband and not be too stingy about it?
I'd say kind of like, what are you doing? Like, you're not only withholding out on him, but also yourself, And, it also kind of helps you feel good. Like you said, right, we get in these routines, like, maybe I'm going to throw on a little something looking cute underneath the, my normal looking outfit, surprise. And it just kind of makes you feel good again. Like, what is the point? I never really got that of like, oh, I'm holding out, or I'm just, I'm not going to do this because whatever, I'm mad at you. But like, at the end of the day, like, this is a two-way street here. Like, I'm getting something good out of it too. Like, So.
See, you're shedding a good positive light on marriage. I like everything I'm hearing so far. I think this is and this is why you're happily married, because I think what we were just talking about. I think what sometimes happens is people let themselves go. They might lose attraction, or they get bored, and there's a lack of you get into that same routine for so long. So, like you said, you got to switch things up, make it exciting, do something different. Makes sense.
And it's like you said, I feel like I've heard that too, and I've certainly fell into ruts as well, but like you kind of got to push each other. Like I'm very, passionate about physical activity and staying active. And, my husband, I work a desk job too, but he sits a lot more than me. So it's like, you kind of want to push each other. Like if you don't grow and push each other, you're just going to your point, like fall stagnant and just go nowhere and just really
I feel like boredom is a huge relationship killer.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's important to, get the physical activities obviously outside of, being at home. Hit the gym.
Yeah.
Get in the gym, get your workout in for people of all ages, because the fact of the matter is, the more you work out, the better off you're going to be, the healthier you're going to be.
It's good for your mental, take a break. We're all working, we're busy. Just go take a quick break, like do something, move your body, and like you'll feel exponentially better, and just pushing each other to do that too. So
yeah, there's health benefits to even walking a half hour a day. So those people that are just sitting at their desk are giving themselves a disadvantage. So, we take it to another level. We're in the gym 3-4 times a week, running the track every so often. So
love it.
It's something that is great for us, especially for the guys out there. You're getting older. You definitely want to be in a position where you look good overall, mentally, physically, emotionally, socially. And working out, getting in the gym, doing those types of things is actually going to keep you younger. Yeah. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
100%.
We look at the fellas, and again, this is no hate on the guys, but guys younger than us in their 20s, we're out working them. We're out doing them day in and day out, whether it's in the gym or in hustling, trying to elevate our financial status and abilities to be able to create opportunities for ourselves in life. So the younger generation, you guys got to step up, because a lot of folks are really not in good shape. I'm going to be clear cut about it. So, and I think
don't be weak.
Don't be weak, and don't be weak physically, but don't also be weak-minded as well, because I see a lot of softness out
Plus,
there.
it doesn't even take that much time. I hate when people say like, "Oh, I wish I had the time to work out. I don't have time to work out," and it's BS, because my job, I get out late. By the time I'm home, it's 8:30, 9 o'clock. We're always shot when we get home. Like I'm never like, oh, I feel like going to the gym. Like, but once you get there, you get your heart rate up, you start working out, put your music on, and you need 45 minutes an hour, and you do that 3 times a week.
Absolutely.
And you're gonna thank yourself down the line, because I have friends that used to go to the gym with me, and of course they have their own life, marriage, work, and they just lost track of it. They got in that habit of not going, and they got a big belly now, and then it's really tough to lose the weight. Find the motivation to work out, and then rebuild that routine. So you're better off just doing it now.
Keep it consistent.
And find a way to enjoy it. If you don't like lifting weights, do something else. Go running, or like a lot of guys are into like MMA or boxing. Like the idea is just to like stay active, but don't let yourself go.
Absolutely. For the ladies, lift some weights. It feels good.
Yeah, you know what? Ladies focus on running too much, but I give props to the ladies that are lifting those weights and showing off their quote unquote guns out there, because it's, a lot of guys will say, there's some girls that look manly, blah, blah, blah.
No.
Not necessarily.
I actually want to get into that. I'm glad you said that, because I've heard a few girls tell me like, oh, well, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to look muscular. You won't look like a man. Like there's so many girls that go to our gym. None of them look muscular, except the ones that like maybe competed or on like steroids or something.
Steroids and stuff.
They all look feminine. They all look good.
Yeah.
So lifting weights won't make you stocky looking. I think that's a big misconception.
Right. Absolutely. Exactly. We've even had ladies on the show that they lift and that's their thing, and or that's part of their life. And as we have Leah here as one of them.
I've been awake since 4:30 this morning, because I woke up and I went down to my gym and I lifted weights.
Yeah. If anything, it tones you up, I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah, people think to your point, like, you're just going to get big and bulky. No. Like, no, like, learn the right exercises. Like, you want to work your back, your traps. Like, You're not just going to get big and bulky.
No.
Like,
Right.
And protein, ladies, we need to get our protein in.
Protein. I think protein's better than carbs. Again,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm no health expert, but by the research and what's out there and our own personal experience, my personal experience, I think protein,
Yeah.
get the grass-fed stuff. I think that's great stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm with you guys.
And then that circles too and leads into the intimacy. I mean, being good in physical shape, especially for those younger folks that eventually will get married and have that, relationship physically there. I think that's going to help them out and be able to, keep things alive in the bedroom.
Absolutely. And like you said too, right? You're asking me like, we're having kids older, like whatever, it's fine, but you gotta stay in shape. Like, yeah, we'll have a kid when I'm 39. Who knows? Like, I don't want to be, out of breath chasing like a little kid around. Like, stay in shape for yourself and for the future generation. You want to kind of instill that on them too. So
exactly,
working out, I feel like it has a big impact on your confidence, your energy,
Absolutely.
how you carry yourself. Like when you're happy with how you look, it shows, right?
Yeah.
So
100%. How about any marriage stories? Anything interesting you want to share? Anything, it could be serious, it could be something crazy, it could be something fun, it could be something maybe you kind of regret doing. Maybe you don't have regrets.
No regrets. Trying to think. I don't know.
And did you guys ever have any like big arguments or like anything
Any
where it was like,
blowouts?
Man. Well, I'm thinking back to one time before we were married, actually. It's funny, I don't know what exactly happened, but I remember throwing my apartment keys across Texas, Arizona, and Hoboken.
oh wow.
And then my husband got kicked out, and I was like, I'm not leaving. Well, we weren't married at the time, but he got kicked out, and I was like, I'm not leaving. But then we had no keys to get back into our house.
Oh wow.
Our apartment.
Where did the keys end up?
Somewhere under a table.
okay.
Basically, I stayed inside until the bar closed.
Oh, wow.
At God knows what time. And then finally they let him back in and we found our keys on the floor. So that was...
Yeah, no, finding something on the floor in a Hoboken bar, good luck. Like it's the napkins everywhere. And
we
everything.
lucked out. But I have no idea what happened. But
Wow.
yes.
And were you guys okay afterwards, or is this something you talked over? You kind of had a little bit of a back and forth after that.
I wish that I could remember the reason why we even got into a fight in the first place. But
Was
it's no
it-
water under the bridge.
Oh yeah, were there some good old beverages involved in the mix?
Oh, yes.
Well, I'm sure Texas,
yes.
Arizona. So.
Yeah. Fireball was really popping off at the time.
Yeah, I remember the Fireball.
I can't look at that stuff now.
No, I can't touch Fireball.
Yeah. But thankfully, since we've been married, I guess like during the pandemic, there were a couple like trying times of like, it's a little too much togetherness. We were living in like a barely 1,000 square foot apartment. So it was kind of like, leave me alone. I'm going to drink a martini in the bathtub. Like, no, like just.
I think everybody
like
was on the
that.
verge
Yeah,
of
right?
losing
Like,
it
oh my God.
that year because I remember I wanted to go run to the park and even the park was closed. Like you couldn't go anywhere. Restaurants were closed. The only thing that was open, if I remember correctly, was just like supermarkets and liquor stores.
Yeah.
That was it. You couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Some of the things that of course, supermarkets are necessary, but liquor stores, I don't think it's really that necessary. It depends who you are, though.
It's what kept people sane, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like the medicine, if
Yeah.
you will.
Yep.
but yeah, I'm sure with marriage, there's those points where you need your privacy, you need your space, even within
Absolutely.
those situations. So you were at sometimes a crossroads, right? At where you guys couldn't leave at that time with what happened 5 years ago. You couldn't leave, but you found a way to give yourself enough space. I assume.
Yeah, we're still together. We made it work.
There you go. There you go.
And like, I'm no stranger. I'm like, I had a terrible day. I'm like, I just need to be alone right now. Like,
A topic that always gets brought up when we have guests on is somebody will always mention the emotional intelligence aspect of it. Do you feel that's an important part of keeping that marriage and that relationship together, kind of understanding each other's feelings? And like, I'm sure there's days where you come home and you see your husband's in a bad mood and like, is that important?
Yeah, and I feel like, right, because like it kind of goes back to what I said before. I'm like, if you're not, feeling up to 100%, I'm like, what's going on? You want to talk about it? But I think then sometimes it can go the other way, at least for me, when I'm like, I kind of don't want to talk about it. So it's like understanding when to push or when to kind of, back off and cool off. I think I'm probably going to butcher this, but it was like, do you want a hug? Do you want me to tell you you're right? Do you want advice? So it's kind of just like reading the room or the situation.
Yeah, you're reading each
It's
other,
like,
right? Yeah.
So it's
Makes
like,
sense.
You know, so it's a long-winded way of saying yes.
Yeah.
So there's been some trials and tribulations that you guys had to overcome, and the way you've overcome it is by really talking it out.
Absolutely.
That's the best way to do
Getting
it.
back on the same page. Like at the end of the day, we're on the same team. And whenever we're arguing or having a misunderstanding, we try to come back to that. Like we're on the same team. We're working towards the same outcome or output. And like maybe right now my opinion's a little bit different, but like we want to get there eventually. So same team.
It must feel good knowing that you're coming home and you have somebody that's by your side, somebody that's going to help you and work with you to, so.
Yep.
That's cool.
absolutely.
And I think that's a great message out there, because the thing is that people go into marriage not thinking team, not thinking togetherness, not thinking about each other's interests, just thinking about me, what can I get out of this?
Absolutely.
And again, I am going to harp on the ladies a little bit here
All right,
because,
let's do it.
the stats are, facts are facts. The stats are where 50 to 60% of separations and marriages occur in the U.S. And in the U.S. So divorces and separations occur, and 80 to 90% of them are initiated by women, approximately. So I think that's a great message to the ladies out there that you really want to try to keep it together and look at this as a team. You want to look at it as a game? Sure, look at it as a team game. Not play games with each other. Make sure that you guys are rocking and rolling and playing the game the right way together.
Yeah, power couples. Look at Jay-Z and Beyonce. They're out there conquering the world together.
Yep.
Like they're doing that together. I mean, again, they've had their issues.
They've been through a lot too,
Exactly.
but they're still together. So I'll give them that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and that's the thing that and I'm calling out the ladies on this because it's 80 to 90% of them are the ones initiating the divorces and the separations. So, what does that mean? That means that there are men out there. We give the credit to the guys in this case because they are going out there and they're getting up every morning to pick up garbage, to deal with shit, to deal with this, deal with that. And, they're coming home. Not saying that the ladies aren't going out and dealing with stuff too, but they're going out, working hard and providing to either their significant other or their families with hopes that they grow something special for their immediate family and beyond in generations to come. So that's why I see that men are more focused on keeping it together, even though when things aren't working out too well. They look at it as we're together, we're a team, and women don't see it as a team as much. Can you maybe shed a light on why that may be? Why some ladies out there?
I feel like that's unfortunate, and I feel like that's a shift that I would love to see women kind of take on. I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit of a unicorn in this situation, but it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's like, then why did you even get into this in the first place? Like, what was the point? Like, if you're just going to be kind of like turning this man off or like, giving him the cold shoulder, you're just not in it. Like, then what is your end game? Like you said, does he have a bunch of money in his bank account? Cool. But like, what are you doing?
Right.
So
Exactly.
Well, I think in general, a lot of men now are hesitant to get married for that reason. I have a question for you. So a common complaint from the male side is that single guys are obviously going after single girls, and now you have this era of women now that set these extremely high entry level standards, right?
Yeah.
Like you need to make this much, you better have your life together, so do you feel like, obviously women have to have standards, you have to have a certain thing that you want, you're not just going to take anyone, makes sense, but do you think that they're approaching it the right way, or are they setting the bar too high, or should they maybe like give more guys a chance and like the way you approach it, you guys met at a bar and it worked out, right? But if you said at the time like, hey, how much do you make? If you made it too strict at the time, you guys maybe would have never dated.
absolutely.
And missed the opportunity.
Yeah, I think, right, you don't want to totally lower your standards, but I think if you come out of the gate swinging, like, you don't have this, and this, like, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Like, nobody is perfect. Nobody is going to have every single thing. And, like, maybe you didn't have X in the beginning, but as you gave this person a chance, like, you come to find out, like, you're making up for it over here and you have something that I didn't even think of. So, like, I think if you're just turning a person away right out of the gate just because they don't hit all these 20,000 things on your unrealistic checklist, like
Right.
you could be missing out on a really great guy that maybe he's, you don't know him yet. Maybe he's working towards that, X thing that you have on your list and he's trying really hard, but you just immediately turned him away. You didn't even give him a chance. So
I see it the same way. I think you have to have your standards, but if you kind of like block everyone off because they're not making 250K or whatever the number is nowadays, I don't even know, you may be missing out on a potentially really good relationship. Plus, I think that once you're in a relationship, women are good at motivating men. I'll give women credit for that. Like I have friends that are married, and their wife pushed them like, "Hey, you need to get a better job. Or you need to improve in this aspect, or whatever it was." Amen. So there you go. I think sometimes you just have to give people a chance.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay with them, but at least give it a shot.
Yeah, I agree. Have an open mind.
Have an open mind.
Absolutely.
Be open-minded, that's for sure. Before we go on to this next crucial question, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, the podcast guys on YouTube. We've been on close to 2 years. We're rocking and rolling. We're going up, and we're not stopping. So subscribe to the channel. Follow us again on all our social platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and Rumble, the podcast guys _ the podcast guys 5 on X, and the podcast guys on Spotify and Facebook. And also, don't forget about our lovely guest, our lovely lady here, Jersey Drinks. Yes. Why don't you throw your information out there again one more time?
Absolutely. So you guys can find me on Instagram at Jersey Drinks. I'm a Jersey girl through and through. You can also find me on my website at www.jerseydrinks.com.
Awesome. So this question that is very important, again, is to the ladies out there. But again, what we say is to really bridge the gap, because we really want to try to get the guys and gals on the same page. And it seems like not a lot of it is happening, and there are podcasts out there that are not promoting men and women to be on the same page. It's totally the opposite. So my question to you is, what are the consequences for women not lowering their standards as they get older and older? Let's say into their mid-30s, 40s. They have these high standards to even have consideration for a guy to forget marriage, just to even go out on a date.
Yeah. I mean, the ultimate consequence of that is you're just going to be alone forever. You're going to see your friends who took a chance, opened their mind a little bit, and maybe had what you were looking for the whole time just because you were too stubborn to like go on a date with a guy who just, could have been something. I think then, you just kind of end up sad and alone perhaps. And then, right, all the pressure and standards that you were looking for in a partner, like you just dump that all on yourself. You don't have that teammate. You don't have that person to help you, reach that X salary goal. Like you're on your own. I mean, I'm living a dink lifestyle right now. You got that dual income. Like you want that other person to help you achieve your goals. And like we were saying before too, right? Like you're not going to have anyone to motivate you. You're just going to be very reliant on yourself. And, power to people. Like I definitely think at times I'm very independent, but you absolutely need that other person. Like they push you, like you were just saying, and then it's on you.
I think when you stay alone for a long time, you can actually fall into that comfort zone of being comfortable with being alone. And again, that could cause you to stay single long term, because there's a lot of women that I follow that kind of like, they do their thing, they're traveling, they're living their best life, but it's like, you don't want somebody like you. Do you want to stay single forever? Like I get it if you're in your early 20s, like nobody's pushing you to get in a relationship, but I know women that are my age that are still just kind of like I would rather just travel and do my thing. And props to you for living your best life in that sense. But you have to have somebody eventually.
Yeah. Like as much as you say that, like really, like we're human. We appreciate connection and togetherness. Like we all lived through that. Like you don't want to be alone forever. Like you're kidding.
And if there's any like younger people watching, I could tell you firsthand that one thing that changes as you get older is that circle gets smaller and smaller.
Absolutely.
Your circle gets smaller and smaller. Those friends move or they get married, and like life takes on. And next thing you know, you have a handful of friends left if you're lucky. So.
Absolutely.
And do you think that the ladies out there see things more through a lens of look through a lens and see life as not common sense when they make these decisions of having these high standards and whatnot?
Well, where does
Because
it even come from? Is what I want to know.
Because it seems like it's a fantasy what they're looking for. So
take your rose-colored glasses off, Lucas.
thank you. Because what I'm trying to get out there is that women are looking at things illogically and they're not using common sense. They're looking at things like, okay, I want my fantasy guy, and if I don't have him, it's a no for any guy. That's it.
Yeah, and I feel like too, right, the world we live in, and people coming up, they're like the social media thing. Maybe I think is impacting that a little bit.
Has to be.
You see
I think
these
it's
like
huge.
perfect couples. Like, don't look at that. Like, go look in your family, your cousin, your sister. Like, look to those people to like get a more realistic, opinion and outlook and on what you're looking for in a partner in a relationship. But yeah. I'll just say it again. Take off your rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally do know couples out there that, and I know of couples out there that, you observe and see across social media just because you come across them, that aren't having the best relationship or even having a great relationship, but they're putting pictures and videos.
Red flag. I already know what you're going to say.
They're putting it out there for show, just to show and make things seem that they're gravy. Wow.
And then you get the girlfriend or the wife, and they're like, why aren't you posting more on social media about me? I'm like, my husband hasn't posted a picture of me. And well, actually, he posted for our 5-year wedding anniversary. But before that, like, I don't know.
Well, that's a great occasion.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He at least did that. But like, I don't need to, if you're actually in a happy, loving relationship and marriage or whatever, you don't need to be just touting it and posting it. Like,
and commenting on each other's stuff.
Yeah, like, sure, I want to like post our fun vacation or whatever, but like, it's unrealistic. I say red flag if it's just, oh, we're happy, so happy, blah, blah, blah. Like, something's going on over there.
The people that take like the matching pajama pictures on Christmas, that type of thing. That's what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah. That, or just posting, everywhere they go every, couple weeks, or
the hand looking back, like, oh god.
Yeah. We went skiing together. We went to the beach, or some silly stuff, and but yeah.
Social media in general, it shows you the best of everybody's lifestyle. You see the Bugattis, the yachts, and the vacations. So when you look at that all the time, a part of you, and I'm guessing this is where these standards are coming from.
I think so.
Because we're millennials, like it wasn't always this way. Would you guys agree? Like we were having a great conversation before about like pre and post social media and like how it affected everything. I think it's a direct result of social media. People see that and they're like, well, I want that too. Like
yeah, and I think it's just so much competition as well now because there's so many people connected.
Yep.
So Instagram is. You can call that a dating site practically.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Totally fair.
Unless it's something that you're doing business related or, you have some actual friends on there that you're talking to as far as, men being friends on there with women and vice versa. It's pretty much a kind of like a Tinder or Bumble type thing.
Yeah. Sliding into those DMs.
Yeah. As people like to do.
Yeah.
But I see ladies make this mistake because they uphold those standards. They're like, I'm going to stick to those standards no matter what. No disrespect to some of the ladies that we've had on here, but there are a couple of them that do have that mindset. It is what it is. But do you think it's even at all reasonable for women to equate companionship with a person versus companionship with cats or dogs? Because women are so much like, oh, I'm okay with my 9 cats.
Yeah. So it's funny. I always joke. We have a family dog, my 3rd family dog, Zoe. So I love her.
I do like dogs, so I'm a dog
so
person.
it's funny. We joke. I'm always like, you're my best friend after Zoe. But like at the end of the day, dogs, it's sad they're only here for a certain amount of time. Or cats, they might have 9 lives, but like they're not living with you to build a house or build a home. Like they're not paying your bills.
Yeah.
They're not talking back to you. I mean, as much as we think they might be. Like, So I think no.
Yeah, it's not the same at all as a person, and that's the sad thing that women do think that having a pet is the same as having an actual relationship with a boyfriend or husband.
I feel like it could even hold you back more. You can't take the dog with you on every trip. Like, who's gonna watch it?
That's very true. I mean, who's going to stick around and, make sure that the dog is fed?
Yeah.
The dog is not, crapping all over the place or making a mess, biting your shoes, chewing up your socks. And, you're like, what's going on? So there's a lot of that, definitely that women should take into consideration.
Don't
I think
replace
there's a
your man
fine
with a
line
dog.
between like, okay, these are my standards, and then just being completely off the charts delusional. Like, as guys, if we were to sit here and say, well, I know what I want. I want her to be a size 0, and she only dated 3 guys, and she's going to be beautiful. It's not realistic. You know what I mean? You could say those are your standards, but like you have to be realistic. You have to look around like what's available to you and what's the best options from that. Let's start with that. You know what I mean? Don't even look at social media.
Yeah.
Because guys can also look at Instagram and see all these models or OnlyFans, which we could get into that if you guys want to. And that's a whole nother problem because guys see women like that and they think that, that's for them. And 99% of the time, it's not for you. That's not a girl that's going to end up dating you.
Well,
It's not realistic.
I did hear that there's a statistic out there. I'll have to look at this a little bit more just to make sure I fine-tune it. But approximately 33% of ladies aged 18 to 25 are part of OnlyFans. Do you think that's a recipe for a successful potential marriage partner in the future for a man to see a woman in that light?
I mean, I only know so much about OnlyFans, and from what I gather, it's not the most safe for work kind of place.
Right.
I'd have to imagine that, like, probably not. I mean, hey, girls are out here making tons of money doing feet pictures and things like that, but like, not even just your potential significant other, but like your family or potential employers. Like, I don't know. I can't speak too much of it. That's an area that does feel like it could toe the line for me a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of can't erase that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it is
Dicey.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely a little bit on the tense side when people discuss OnlyFans, and even for those ladies that are a part of it. I mean, once people see that you're out there, I mean, once you're out there, you're out there. And the internet is forever, just like a text message is out there forever.
Yeah. I think it depends too, like who's using it. Like, I do some work with UFC, and some of the fighters, the female fighters, like they're on there, but like you find their page and like they're just like playing video games. It's like in that capacity, cool. But like if you don't have that status or that clout where people just like want to see a celebrity doing something, like I think you could maybe get yourself into some hot water.
for being involved in the other stuff. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And let's turn it now to the drinks aspect.
Ooh, yeah, I could use a drink after that.
Now, before we get into actual drinks, some drink questions now.
Sure.
We'll get back into your husband and your first date.
Yeah.
Do you guys first date? Maybe it wasn't. Was it actually a date going out for drinks, or was it something else?
So we met, and then we did one of those like me and my boy are like on a Hoboken. So I'm like hitting on my girls. I'm like, all right, let's all go out together. So don't ask me what I drank that night. It was probably more Fireball.
Well, what I was going to ask you is, do you remember his first drink when you guys first drank together? By any chance?
Am I allowed to say Fireball again? No, actually, you know what I do? It's really funny. I feel like he used to have this weird kick with like orange flavored vodka and soda.
Interesting.
I think you just unlocked a memory that I forgot about.
There we go.
I remember that era where it was, I think,
Yeah.
UV vodka, and they had like blue, red, and you would mix it with like whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but then our first like real date, we went out for sushi, and it was like a BYOB, so just like brought a bottle of wine. So that was fun. But then I remember the first drink I made for him was a Scotch sour, because my nonu used to make them. I won't tell you how old I was when I was drinking them, but it was just like the drink that my nonu always would make. And like, I was so early in my kind of career at that time. So I'm just like digging into like the recipe bank for my family. So a Scotch sour.
Interesting. I'm learning myself because I'm sure the folks out there know I'm not, it's a once in a while type thing, more of a celebration type thing when I drink. Even, my Rob knows, and some of my friends know that I'm a little bit on more of the healthier
Hey, nothing wrong with
side
that.
of things. So, but of course I'll indulge, and
I can make you a mocktail. It's going to be delicious.
yeah, we'll do it. We'll do a little taste test. So I'm okay with that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's cool to remember that. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Kind of brings back some memories.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, the Scotch sours. That was a time.
Sours are the ones where you make it with an egg or something like that?
An egg white.
Okay.
Yeah. People get a little creeped out by that, but you've probably had them more times than you can realize. But
What does that ingredient do to the drink? Is it a texture thing or a flavor thing? How does that
a little
work?
bit of both. So if you think about, you get a nice frothy kind of topping on your drink, not like an espresso martini kind of foam, but that nice thick white kind of top that comes from the aeration of the egg white. And it does really give a nice kind of textural flavor to your cocktail. Kind of changes the body a little bit. It doesn't really impart like an eggy flavor, but there's a lot of alternatives now. Aquafaba, which is basically just chickpea water, kind of random and weird, but this like vegan lifestyle that people have, it gives the same effect as an egg white. So lots of different alternatives, but there is a reason for it.
What would you say are like 3 drinks that everybody should learn how to make when you're entertaining guests, you have friends over? What are like 3 to 5 drinks that you think everyone should learn, like some beginner cocktails?
Yeah. I think a margarita, a classic margarita, it's #1 cocktail in America for a reason. There's so many different ways you could go about that. I am a big advocate for fresh is always best. So if you have the capacity to do fresh juice, great. But there are some awesome mixes out there that you can do. It's an easy one. It's always a crowd pleaser. The freezer door martini is also great. And you're getting into your hosting era, you can just kind of like pre-mix your, vodka if you like to put vermouth, or if you're a gin martini, you can just put that. I have this like fun little bottle. You can put this vodka, whatever in it, pop that in your freezer, and you can kind of offer your guests that elevated experience. And then I think another classic that maybe we'll get to in a little bit is an old fashioned. It's, approachable for the whiskey drinker. I push women to give it a try if you're kind of really interested in exploring spirits, but that's another really easy one. It's just bitters, a little bit of sugar or simple syrup, and whiskey. It's a stirred drink, super easy.
One of my favorites.
3 classics.
Cool.
And if I had to add a 4th one, it would be an Aperol Spritz.
Cool.
You know what? I did try that one time. It was very interesting. They were giving it out as samples.
Okay.
We were out somewhere, wherever we were out enjoying the
Tiki
summer.
Bar, Martel's Tiki Bar.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
we were out there. So
Love it.
That was an interesting flavor.
Yeah. It's a little bitter. It's a little sweet. My fellow bitter Italians. I love my bitter Italian spirits, but it was actually one of my signature wedding cocktails too. So
Cool. Well, definitely, guys, stay till the end, because towards the end we're definitely gonna get some drinks on the men, so you guys can see what we have here.
I'll teach you some tricks. Impress those ladies.
Cool.
Absolutely. Well, what drink does kind of give a lady sort of like, hey, this is cool? He kind of has a feeling for what I like to drink. Is there a known popular drink that the ladies have a go-to?
I mean, shockingly, guess what I'm about to say?
Fireball.
Is it
No. Oh, damn, I got you guys. How dare you? Espresso martinis.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Crazy popular now.
It's just like, it's so funny. I remember drinking these back in, I don't know, like 2011, 2012 at my graduation party from college. I was 21 at the time. And it was awesome. Like my family were always drinking them. We love them. And now they're just everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
I do see them.
How do you
on
make
menus.
one?
Yes. So at the core, you're just going to get some vodka, fresh espresso. Got to be fresh. That's how you get the foam. You can substitute, but trust me, it's got to be fresh. And then I like to do a little bit of vanilla simple syrup is kind of my go-to. Regular simple syrup is fine. And then, of course, you got to have a little bit of coffee liqueur.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say there has to be some type of a coffee liquor in there, or a coffee vodka or something.
And there's all variations. I think if you want to level up a little bit, tequila has become super popular spirit. I love adding a reposado tequila. A nice aged tequila has a little bit of texture, body, and just it adds a nice kind of note to it. Vodka's fine, but at that point I'm like, I'm just drinking like a coffee in a martini glass.
Yeah.
It has no flavor, but if you want to level it up a little bit, I'd say go for a reposado in there.
Cool, I like that.
I tend to see that also there's different alcoholic drinks and things of that nature stay on people's shelves for a little while. Is it good to add them as a age, or does it matter if
Yeah. So I would say like any like base spirit, like a tequila, a vodka, a gin, a bourbon, like those are good. Those are pretty much shelf stable for life. When you start getting into things like I was talking about Aperol or a Campari or Saint Germain, which is an elderflower liqueur, those will start to kind of go bad. They're a little bit lower alcohol content. If you pop them in the fridge, they will last a little bit longer. But I would say kind of like check on those. Another misconception that people don't realize, vermouth, what I was saying, is kind of used as like a modifier. It's a fortified wine. Like once you open your vermouth, Put that in the fridge.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna want to put that in the fridge.
That can ferment, I guess. Like,
yeah,
like
it just can go bad.
it could go bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would say wines also are something that if you open, that
Oh,
you
yeah.
wanna-
Yeah.
Wine will go bad quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Red wine, like after 2 days, I won't drink it. White wine, like,
It turns into vinegar, actually.
Yeah,
I
and
think. Yeah.
it tastes a little funky.
That's
I'll,
like-
I'll put it in my red sauce on a Sunday if I'm not finishing it. You know, it's a secret. It's a secret of my sauce.
Okay, secret sauce to the sauce.
Exactly.
Can you
Exactly.
tell us a little bit about? I see you brought some
Yes.
bar tools with you. You
Absolutely.
did make your own syrup. Can you
I
show?
did.
How do you make the syrup? And tell us a little bit about the setup. The
Yeah,
tools.
absolutely. So I brought for you guys, we're going to make a fun variation on an old fashioned. I'm going to play with fire a little bit over here. So like I was saying before, an old fashioned at its core, it's just going to be sugar or simple syrup, a little bit of bitters, and then your base spirit. We are going to go for the classic route here with some bourbon, but you can have some fun with an añejo tequila, with a rum. So you can use kind of any dark spirit. But for the simple syrup, again, it's simple for a reason. It's just equal parts sugar and water at the core. Like it's really that simple. But I like to have some fun with it. I love to cook, so I like to add different flavors. So for this one, I made a hibiscus simple syrup, right? We kind of want to, right? We're talking about bridging the gap here between men and women. And I think women get intimidated by these types of drinks. So it's like, let's bring a little fun. This will turn a little bit pink. We'll make it a little bit more, approachable for the ladies. But for this, it's super easy. Guys, if you can boil water in your tea kettle, you can make the simple syrup. It's just 1 tea bag, 1 cup of boiled water, and sugar, and that is it.
One
It's
part
pretty
sugar, one
simple.
part water.
Yep, equal parts, and then one tea bag. So kind of prepare. There you go. Super, super easy. And then the bitters, right? People ask me a lot, like, what the hell, Leah, are bitters? Basically, I like to think of them as the salt and pepper shaker of your cocktail cabinet. It just has a little bit of something special, and you can get basic aromatic bitters, orange bitters, and chocolate bitters, I say, are the most popular. But because I am a bitter Italian, I do have a lot of heart for bitters. So this one is a really fun brand. It's a hibiscus, lavender, and oak, so it plays really nicely with the hibiscus syrup that we're going to use. So yeah.
Awesome.
Do you
Awesome.
recommend any particular like website to order stuff like that? Because I've looked for bitters myself, and I
Yeah.
noticed that most stores will only kind of carry, like a grocery store will only carry like
Yeah.
one brand. Where do you find stuff like that?
Yeah, so this one in particular, actually, I think they're based out of North Carolina. Honestly, believe it or not, Amazon does carry like a lot of different kind of brands and bitters. Now, what's great, bitters are they're able to be sold in the kind of like e-commerce space. They don't really fall into the liquor category. Yeah, just go on Amazon, type in like Fee Brothers. They're a great brand. They have like cherry, celery, lemon, all sorts of fun flavors. So there's a couple Jersey brands too that have been popping up. Bittermans is another great brand, but yeah, it's gone a lot more.
So you just
accessible.
throw a couple drops of that into whatever drink you're making, and it'll
Exactly.
switch up the flavor.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, old fashions and Manhattans, I say, are definitely pretty iconic with the bitters, but add, a couple drops, like I said, a margarita, and it just really gives it a little bit of a something extra.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there any solid drinking advice that you've ever received? Anything, could be anything revolving drinking, the amount you drink, the types of drinks you drink.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, I've worked in liquor, like I said, I think earlier, over 10 years now. And when I started in this industry, I was fresh out of college. I was in a sorority. So like, I definitely retired party girl over here. It's a slippery slope, like alcohol it alters your perception. It changes your mindset. Like you do really need to be conscious of kind of how much you're consuming over what period of time. So I definitely learned some hard lessons early on in my career, going from that like party environment to a professional environment. And I just say the biggest piece of advice, it's like, I used to do when you're young, I'm not going to eat when I'm going out. I want to get fucked up. But like, you don't really want to be doing that. So
Yeah.
I always try to make sure if you're going out, you're going to have a heavier night, like eat something. And I now am getting older here. I do try to have water in between. That is very important. Alcohol totally dehydrates you. You wake up feeling like shit. So I definitely always try to have some water while I'm kind of out for a night drinking. And then I do always leave future self a water bottle and then a Pedialyte type of drink at home.
Yeah, that is a
before I go to
lifesaver.
bed.
PLA is a lifesaver.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's huge. So you would say a drink and then some water and then a cup of water, then drink, then okay.
And like, we're sophisticated. We're adults. Like, you don't need to be like slamming back your drink. Like, enjoy it, right? Like, I love drinking because I think the drinks taste good, and like, I'm not just trying to, get fucked up over here. Like, savor your drink, enjoy your drink. And I say, especially like if you're out on a date, like, all of a sudden within like 30 minutes you're gonna be like blackout like on your third margarita. Like
as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate cocktails more. There's this one bar that I go to, and every like quarter they change up the seasonal drinks, and it's like it's drinks I've never heard of, and I like that because it's like. Yeah. One was called like Tequila Mockingbird, and I have no idea what that is. And like they have. Oh, I wanted to ask you that as well. So that bar, they had all these little jars and bottles and stuff.
Oh, like on the bar.
Are those all bitters?
So probably a mix of both bitters, and then like this isn't really like a super fancy one.
Syrups and stuff like that.
Yeah, they make fresh juices. A lot of bar programs, like I said, fresh is always best. So like your fresh lemon, your fresh lime, things like that. So and they make it look nice. Yeah.
Awesome.
What are we making today?
All right. Well, I have, like I said, this hibiscus old fashioned. I did bring like to play with fire here a little bit. And then Nando, you told me that you like Tom Collins. So
that was a classic of mine a while. So I was like, you know what? Why not revisit the classic?
I know I said to you before, I'm like, that's a pretty fancy drink for college kids. But hey, like I said, I like to make sure drinking is accessible for everyone. So now I'm not giving you the gin. I'm going to make this a mocktail for you.
All right. That's fine. That's fine.
But then like, again, I'll like make a couple simple syrups. Like again, it's simple. It's not that hard and you can just make whatever. But so did make this one hibiscus syrup, and you're going to see it in a whiskey drink. And then we're going to show you it's going to be delicious in a mocktail too. So I'll make yours first. You want to get into it?
Let's do it.
So before I came, like I said, I did some fresh pressed lemon juice. This is 3/4 an ounce of lemon juice, and then just 1/2 ounce of the hibiscus syrup. Super easy. Look at that. We're just going to pour it right in. Love the sound of that. And then I did bring you guys ice too, because nobody.
Oh, I was going to say I have ice if you need. Yeah.
Nobody wants a warm cocktail.
Nice. You came fully prepared. You got the whole bar set up.
You're ready to rock. Like
I bring it all. I do this, for my clients for events. Like I'll bring the cups. I'll bring most of the tools that you guys will see here. Yeah. So like.
And I like to see how the cups are labeled with Jersey Drinks, guys. Again.
Nice.
Yes.
Don't forget to
check her out on Instagram.
Please
check her out on Instagram and her website.
Yes, absolutely. All right, and then when you're making a mixed drink, like a Collins style or like a tall drink, your mixer is, like 80% of your cocktail as well. So want to get a premium brand, like, your Canada Dry, Cool, whatever. Fever Tree and Q mixers, I think, are my go-to, and you can actually find them now in like your Acme's or ShopRites. Q, in fact, is actually made in Brooklyn, so they're local, and they just really pride themselves on like clean, fresh ingredients. So if you're going to do, we're pouring mostly of the soda in here, so.
Gotcha, okay.
Do this for you nice and easy. And then, just like the ladies know, we want to accessorize. So I'm a big advocate of garnishing our cocktails. So we're just going to stir, making a mess. It's late, guys. It's late.
What's that called what you're using there? Because I actually have one of those.
Yes. This is a bar spoon.
Bar spoon.
It's a bar spoon. So it's just nice, simple.
Why does it have those like twisty things on it?
So that's a great question. But one thing I do know, and it's a little late. I can't pull out all the tricks. But basically what the fancy bartenders do at bars, like you can kind of use this to let's see if I can get this.
Oh, it pours down.
It helps it pour it down.
I gotcha.
Yeah. And that's just like the vibe. I've always kind of wanted a tattoo of one on my arm.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, garnishes. I just keep dehydrated citruses pretty much at all times, especially for my events. That way I'm not wasting the fresh citrus if I don't use them all. And then it's just that
gives it a kind of a high-end look, I will say, yeah.
So level up out, guys. Just, buy some dehy.com. They have fantastic garnishes, and you just keep them in a nice little thing.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy that one.
I will definitely enjoy it. It's been a while, so.
We have our.
Don't hold it to me, folks.
Don't worry, it's a mocktail, so you're allowed. Let's see how it tastes.
It's good.
Nice, right? It's light, bright. It's a good.
So
choice.
many flavors intertwined in one drink. It's awesome.
Amazing.
My drink is going to require fire, so I'm looking forward to this.
So we're excited. I love an old fashioned as well, but like I said, let's have some fun. Let's level it up. So I am just going to take 1/2 ounce of this hibiscus syrup. We're going to add that right into our glass. And then a couple drops again. We just have this. The brand is Crude. You can find it online. You could totally just use an orange bitter or something kind of more basic. Nothing wrong with the classics. God, it's been a minute. Let's see if I can get this. There we go. So yeah, this just kind of plays on it. It's got a little bit of oak in it. It's got the hibiscus. Oh, I might have spoke too soon. Oh, going off camera for a
If
second.
that one isn't open, I have bitters, so.
No worries.
I just have the regular, what do they call Angostura bitters?
Yeah. My bitters are crapping out on me right now.
Oh, there we go.
Now
just
it's
needed
a
some.
party.
I was going to lend a helping hand, but I was like, hey, let me give her a shot.
I told you I'm an independent woman. I would have took the help because I want to get these bitters.
It would have been like...
How dare you?
Yeah. But yeah, so
I was holding back for a sec.
Appreciate it. We got it. See, ladies? we got it done. But yeah, so just added a couple of drops in there, and then we're gonna add our whiskey. I love a good Woodford Reserve, which is yummy. So we're gonna add that right in here as well. And then for your drink, it's a Collins style. It's a highball. So you saw me. I just kind of built that right in the glass. Super simple. You could do that in a shaker without the club soda if you wanted to. But yeah, for this one, it is a pretty spirit-forward drink. There's no citrus, no nothing in it. So we are going to stir this one.
What is that called that you're holding there?
This?
Yeah.
This is just a mixing glass.
Mixing glass.
Yeah, nice mixing glass. They're great to have for all your stirred Negronis, old fashions, Manhattans, martinis. If you're into more of a stirred versus a shaken martini, we'll drop that in. Sorry.
When you use, I guess it's called a jigger, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So one side is what, an ounce, and the other one's 2 ounces?
So yeah, if you can see in here, like there's all little like measurements.
Okay.
So they make them in like 1 ounce, 2 ounce, half ounce, quarter of an ounce. So
Okay.
this one is a Bell style jigger. So this has on one side it's a full ounce, and then the other side is actually 2 ounces. And then we're just gonna stir. Just want to stir this up. I know. I feel like a lot of people, they're like, I don't want ice in my drink. Give me more alcohol. Like, it's not really how it works.
Yeah.
You're still gonna get the same amount of alcohol. You're just gonna be
Right.
stuck with like a gross warm drink.
Got it.
Nobody wants a warm cocktail.
Nope.
I think people, I've seen it out there. I mean, people freak out because they drink most of the drink pretty quick, and then there's a lot of ice left.
Yeah.
That's why probably they're like, oh, too much ice is, no good.
Yeah. Like I said.
Especially when some people are paying like 20, 25, 30 drinks for a drink in the city, or
Yeah, even if you drink whiskey straight, like an ice cube, it dilutes it just enough.
Yeah, and
right?
it totally changes the flavor profile. Like I said before, I do like some spirits tastings. So when I do whiskeys, I always like to have my clients taste it neat, kind of on its own, and then you just add, like you said, just a tiny drop. Like I'll bring a little, eyedropper for water, and it totally changes the flavor profile. There's a reason that we have ice.
Yeah.
that's it.
Some ice. Speaking of, I got some ice for you.
Got a little
then I brought up-
in-house bar here.
Yeah. And then we're going to add some smoke because we're trying to impress our dates here. Let's make sure I turn this on.
We are firing it up.
There we go. I mean, guys, if you smoke cigars, you might already have one of these. If you like to cook, torch your creme brulee or whatever the hell you're cooking. But we're going to use this to smoke our cocktail. So I just have some oak chips in here, my little smoker guy. And we're just going to...
Ooh.
So see, you're going in from the top there.
Yep. You can do this over the glass. I have a plastic Jersey Drinks branded cup, so I don't want to put fire on that today. But doing it right in here also works. And then I have my handy dandy Hawthorne strainer. This is great to kind of hold back. You'll see, hold back the ice. If you're doing like a drink that's like muddled and you need to strain it out too, you'll kind of hold that. You don't want to be like eating your cocktail. That's what salads are for. And so, kind of hold that back. All the smoke comes, just gives it it's sexy. It's a sexy.
Yeah, the smoke is a cool touch.
Yeah, I smell it. It gives it a little interesting, nice feel.
And then for this old fashioned, I was out of my Luxardo cherry, so you're just gonna get a fun orange peel. So I cut this one for you. Nice. It's cute. So we're just gonna kind of like express that on the top, and then I'd put a little cut, and then it's just gonna go.
Nice.
God.
Can't wait to try this. Thank you so much.
There you go. Give a little color, not too pink, so the guys, still don't feel
There you
like too
go.
girly, but
So this would be a hibiscus old fashioned.
yes, smoked hibiscus. And like I said, the bitters has a little bit of oak in it as well, so that smoke kind of really brings all those flavors together.
Very nice.
I can smell that smoke.
Yeah.
The smell is really cool.
Yeah.
It smells good.
And there we have
Yeah,
it.
that gives it a nice fancy touch to it. Because I've made these myself, and I just kind of do it lazy, like a couple drops of bitters, whiskey, and an orange peel. So
I
these are
think
nice.
everybody's like that when they have some mixes and ice, of course, and,
Very
and
nice.
the tools. They'll mix up something quick, but it's not like
Yeah.
the professional mixologists that we have here
Exactly.
in
Well,
Leah.
guys, I did want to leave you with each of your own.
Oh, thank you so much.
thank
That's
you very
awesome.
much.
Thank you.
So
Thank
now
you.
you
That's
can
awesome.
impress your dates.
That's so cool.
appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Or
Appreciate
enjoy
that.
it on your own time. But yes.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, I know that the ladies out there can be definitely impressed by, we're learning a lot already, and
Yeah.
we can definitely pick up on. Of
There you
course,
go.
a drinker. Me, I'll do a moderated, the special occasions,
Exactly.
and
Hey, mocktails can be delicious too.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
It's something that's growing in popularity from what I heard. Like Gen Z,
100%.
they're not really big drinkers, so they're
No.
opening up bars that just do mocktails,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. They just like to smoke a lot of weed. Hey,
Yeah,
nothing
they're more
wrong
into
with
weed.
that, but
Yep,
like,
yep.
yeah, As long as it's legal in your area.
Yes, this is true.
Yes, so don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Now, what's your go-to place to drink?
Ooh, so like I mentioned before, we just moved out of Hoboken. I keep saying just. It is already almost 2 years ago.
Time flies. It's, it feels like it's just yesterday.
Oh my God. But so we're in Bergen. We live up in Ramsey, and there's this fantastic place called Allendale Social. Actually, the same owners of Green Rock, for my fellow Hobokenites. They opened this amazing space. It's like really vibey. They have live music on the weekend. It's not too big, so you kind of get this like really intimate feeling. The food is fantastic, and the drinks there are just like top notch. So that's kind of, I live like 5 minutes down the street, so we go there.
Allendale Social, it's called.
Yeah, Allendale Social.
Cool.
Yes.
We'll check that out.
I go there a lot.
Cool.
You'll find me there probably.
Hey, definitely. Shout out to Green Rock.
Yes.
Went there a few times back a little while back. So
I forgot to ask you, what's your favorite drink? What's your go-to drink now?
yes, I was going to ask you the same.
I know, it's funny. People ask me that a lot, and I always have to take a minute, and I just really kind of say it's kind of depends on my mood.
Yeah.
But I think if I'm like out, I'm in a pinch, and I don't really like know what to try from the menu, I do just kind of default to Aperol spritzes.
Okay, that's your
believe it or
go-to,
not.
right?
When I'm home, I actually love to make an añejo tequila old fashioned with chocolate mole bitters and añejo tequila. So like I always kind of have those ingredients on hand at home, or a margarita.
Do you ever make limoncello?
I have a lot of favorite. So no, I've never made my own homemade limoncello, but
I'm Polish, and we have something really similar. It's called cytryjnówka. It's basically lemon, sugar, and spirituous. So, which is like a very high proof alcohol, and I think I've never made it myself because it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
you need like probably half a day.
Yeah.
You got to do the lemons and boil it and everything. But
Yeah.
it's very similar to limoncello. You're basically using sugar, alcohol, and lemons, and I guess you kind of reduce it down so it's a little thicker, right?
Yep. Yeah, I've done like homemade liqueurs, which it's like you kind of infuse a spirit and then you mix it with like a simple syrup, and it kind of, to your point, creates that kind of like thicker. But yes, I have a fabulous friend, Chowancello, who actually does a parties making limoncello.
Oh,
she's
wow.
An awesome business. Yeah,
Cool.
she's great. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Have you ever had any crazy times after a few drinks and a date, like afterwards, after that, post kind of activity? Is there any
Together
interesting
or separate?
I think everybody has. I think everybody
tell
has
us both.
Everybody has a story where they're like, yeah, that night I don't remember anything, or
Other than the key throwing in Texas, Arizona that you had.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, there was one time in college for sure. Many times in college, I'm sure. Didn't have as refined of a palate. And we were broke college kids. You were drinking like Burnett's, lemonade in particular. And I just remember like it had just come out. Somehow I got my hands on it, and we were pre-gaming at the sorority house. Like, oh my God, it was just going down like nothing. I think I was like blackout drunk before I even left for this party. And back when I went to school, I went to University of Rhode Island, like off campus frat parties, sorority parties. Like that was the thing to do, Greek life parties. And like, of course I'm wearing 6-inch stilettos to a nasty frat house, like in the middle of winter. So yeah, I was definitely wearing heels. Didn't really know what was going on. There's this one frat house my sophomore year. The stairs were like that.
Oh, they were steep.
Real steep. And like, don't really know what happened. Vaguely remember somehow like finding a shoe, getting the other shoe, and then I just went on the dance floor and just like continued on my night. Woke up the next morning on top of my bed with a beer can on my ankle. That was like the size of a softball.
No way.
That's random.
Yeah. So I really busted my ass on those stairs.
Wow.
It's happened to the best of us.
Yeah. And then the best part was when I went to urgent care, they gave me like one of those like little like boot things. And I was like, well, shit, my best friend is coming up to visit me tonight. I can't go out like this. So
What, like a cast or something?
It was like a brace, like you
Like
just put it
Velcro
around
one.
it, and like
Yeah.
a little plastic. It was like so ghetto, the healthcare services, like I don't know. But I was like, well, like I'm not going out, so I shoved my foot into a boot to cover the thing, and then I went out again. So
I've seen people out at bars with like the what do they call them?
I looked like a
Walker?
What are they called?
crutches.
Yeah, crutches. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time. And I was telling you, it took me several years for that injury to fully recover.
Wow,
So.
yeah, I remember. It's tough when you go through something like that. Like you go out, you have a good time, then you come back, you're like, whoa, what is this?
What the hell happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely woken up like mass amounts of people's blood in the sorority house, like fights, like, oh, I don't know. This is wild.
Jeez, wow, that is wild.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Well,
We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
We drink water in between.
There we go. Drink water,
You
stay
live and you
hydrated.
learn, yeah.
Exactly. Moderation is key.
Yes,
That's why,
exactly.
as I got
safety.
older,
Yeah.
I'm not a shots guy anymore. I used to be like, give shots, let's do shots. I'm
no.
like, I'm not doing any shots. If anything, I'll do one if it's somebody's birthday or something like that, but
Yeah.
I'm not doing shots.
Yeah.
I would rather have something like this, a cocktail,
Exactly. It defeats the purpose.
a wine, a beer.
Enjoying it.
Yeah.
Something you can enjoy and enjoy the moment, because it's not just about the drink; it's enjoying the moment at its entirety.
Exactly. And that's what I was saying. Like,
The drink sets the mood.
Yeah, and it's just like a vibe. I love it, like hanging out. Like my favorite thing, like I love to host, and like I'll always do a little cocktail, like put out some like charcuterie or nuts. Like it's just like
Yep.
a thing. It's just
Yep.
like
That's awesome.
yeah.
How about to turn the spice a little up? How about some classic cocktails or drinks
Okay.
that set a fun and flirty evening mood?
Ooh, I feel like I gotta go back to like a martini, the classic martini. This is a little bit twofold. You can make a martini so many different ways. There's a perfect martini. There's a 50-50 martini, a Vesper martini. I won't bore you with all the details, but I think that a martini, it's just so personal that it's like, you're going to go really like, how do you want it? You know, she's like, I like a dirty, shaken. And it's like, okay. And so you make that and it's just in this beautiful vessel and it's like a really personal drink, but it is like that classic, that iconic classic. Bonus if you give it to me with truffle fries.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, I think there's just something sexy about like that coupe glass, that martini glass. And you're kind of just like sipping it.
It's a classy thing too, with the glass and everything.
Exactly.
So get the ingredients for that and have that ready.
Yes. Like
Yeah.
I said, it's vodka, gin, a vermouth, keep some blue cheese stuffed olives. And
Don't invite a
you're good
girl
to
over
go.
and crack her a stale White Claw.
No. I gotta just tell you guys some tips and tricks. Like,
Yeah.
we're
No,
leveling it up.
we love to hear it. And how about for a getaway on a vacation to an island like in Aruba?
Yes.
What's a drink you can get in the tropical islands that
Absolutely.
will mesh with that environment?
Totally. I can usually only have one of these, but bet your ass the second I'm in that beach chair, I'm getting a Miami Vice with an extra rum floater on top.
Oh, my invices are awesome. Yeah.
And that we're talking about Martell, like that was
Yeah.
my jam there.
In those
Beginning of
huge
summer. Yep.
Plastic, yeah.
50-50 with the strawberry daiquiri and pina colada. Delicious. And then I also love frozen mojitos when I'm on vacation.
okay.
Throw them in the blender. It's delicious.
Yeah, I admit, again, I'm really not as much of a drinker, but you go on vacation, you got to indulge, and those are always
Yeah,
a classic
exactly.
to indulge into.
Yes.
How about for those like mocktails and the non-alcoholic beverages?
Totally.
That what are some classic ones that folks
Yeah.
can get their hands on when they're at a club and they want to fit in, or they just they're out, they don't really want to drink drink alcohol per se.
Totally. So if you're kind of in a club environment, like believe it or not, just go up to your bartender and ask for like a club soda with some limes in it, and no one's gonna have any clue that you're not
It'll
drinking.
look the same.
It looks
Yeah, it looks
exactly,
exactly
the
the
same.
same.
But then if you want something more elevated, I love doing palomas with no alcohol because I make them fresh. Like I like fresh grapefruit juice, a little bit of lime juice, and like a nice club soda. Like that, I feel like is a really versatile cocktail, a delicious quality cocktail that you can kind of make and still enjoy without the alcohol. I have a thing for mojitos right now, it seems like. But a mojito, also, I call it like a no-hito. I've definitely had like pregnant women at some of my classes. Like I said, I just want everyone to have a fun time. So I love doing like a passion fruit mojito without rum or anything. As you got the same, the lime, the passion fruit, the club soda, the mint, and it's freaking delicious.
What goes into a classic mojito?
Yes. So I think you can kind of do it. You can eliminate making the simple syrup on this one if you want, like a nice thick, like a sugar in the raw type of sugar. If you can find Demerara sugar, it's a little bit more coarse. So you just kind of put that in your glass, put a squeeze of your lime, and then just you kind of muddle it with the mint, and then you just ice it and top it off with some club soda. Bartenders like hate making mojitos because it does take a little bit of work, but like it's not that hard.
It's a very simple, tasty drink.
Exactly.
Very nice drink.
I saw one of them like kind of churning there. They had
Yeah,
the muddler.
Okay.
We didn't do any muddling today,
That's
but yeah,
all right.
you just muddle it in the bottom, get that fresh mint, lime, break up that sugar, and it's
a very nice
it's
drink in the
fresh,
summer.
It's delicious. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
In Miami, actually, we went to one spot where they actually crush sugar cane in a machine, Miami
yeah.
mojitos, and they make it with that. Amazing.
Yeah. Yep. Love it.
Now, as far as I know, you mentioned, a couple wild evenings, but have you seen, based off of, a drinking night out, friends, any stories that you've seen from a friend that had a crazy night out after drinking, or that you can share?
Probably.
Obviously, you don't have to.
Too many.
No, name the friend, of course.
Yeah.
Nobody specific, but
Yeah.
yes.
I've definitely seen significant others locking their significant other out of hotel rooms at weddings.
Oh, wow.
And like throwing their shit in the middle of the hallway, and like then said person walking through the after party with all of the family and the friends of the bride and the groom, and hysterically crying and just standing there.
Wow, that's
it wasn't my
embarrassing.
wedding.
That must be embarrassing.
Yeah, no, I've heard that sometimes stuff pops off at those weddings. Like
Yeah.
the groom will sleep with somebody in the wedding party or vice
Yeah.
versa. I've never been to a wedding like that I know of.
I did have a high school bestie and one of my college bestie, a guy and a girl. They ended up hooking up at my wedding, so that was exciting.
Oh, that's cool. That's always good.
That
That's
was
always
exciting.
good.
That was a nice. That was a nice.
That was a nice.
slip
It
up.
balanced out
Yeah,
the story
yeah, yeah.
I just said
Yeah.
before that.
You always want to have the feel good stories.
Yeah,
at
exactly.
events like that.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, did just remind me one time my husband pissed me off. I brought him out for a work thing when I had started one of my other jobs. I don't know what he was doing, but I think he like left and then came back, and I Venmo requested him for $200. He did not fulfill that request, unfortunately.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yes.
And you've also mentioned that you've done some events with the UFC people. I mean, is there any other groups or people that have notoriety that you've worked with? And
Yeah. I do a lot of work with ShopRite, which is really exciting. That's kind of fun. I've done some seminars for Seton Hall University. I've done a couple of things for them. I've worked not with the students of Del Barton, but the moms group. They always do like a really fun ladies' night out for the holidays, which is really fun. I've done some work with a women's financial company called The Financial Diet, if you guys have heard of them at all. So I've had some fun with some pretty cool clients.
cool.
When you do like a large group, do you end up having to use like a mic or a PA to talk to everybody?
Oh my God. Yes. So actually I do have a kind of a story about this. So
Megaphone.
Yeah. Usually I've never really done it. And more recently my groups have been growing like 15 plus. And I'm like, I'm only one person. Like I'm loud, but like I can only be so loud. So it's like, I'm investing. I got, one of the like TikTok mics.
Yeah.
But those things get pretty loud.
Yeah.
So it's like, great. I have a group of women. It's like 22 people. Like, this is going to be great. I'm going to use my mic finally. It turns out the location that she booked me for, I didn't think twice to ask because I would have thought like it's a private room. I hosted this cocktail class in the middle of a fully open and operating sushi restaurant.
Oh.
So I did not end up using the mic because like I felt bad for the other patrons.
So you have to like, I guess, just yell or
Yeah, a lot of people were looking at me. I did give out a good amount of business cards that night, but it was I think my throat is still recovering from that.
Yeah,
So thanks for the mic.
I was gonna say once you get to like 10, 15 people plus, you need like
Yeah.
that's
It's loud. It
it's
gets loud. I was ready to go and I brought someone with me to help at that one. So thankfully she's just like repeating what I'm saying. I'm like, oh man, I got the damn mic and I couldn't even use it.
People are looking. Oh, what's this crazy Italian lady yelling about over here?
Yeah, and one guy was like, I was like, sorry, I don't work here. He's like, no, I want to talk to you. I was like, oh, okay. Like,
It's actually a good marketing strategy, I think, for restaurants in general, because I think it brings like a cool aspect to it. Like if I was at a restaurant, I saw they were kind of doing like a drink thing
Yes.
there. I think it's pretty awesome. Yeah,
great to every Bergen County restaurant out there.
Yeah.
Hit me up.
Let's go.
good way to
Yeah.
bring some business and gain some interest. Yeah.
Get people in on like a Tuesday when restaurants are slow.
Yeah.
So stay tuned and follow me on Instagram at Jersey Drinks for my next public class.
That's it, Jersey
We're
Drinks.
working on it.
That's it. Absolutely. And then, are there any other events that you want to put out there that you do and go to for folks that
Yeah.
you're willing to work.
Sure.
take
Yeah,
on.
absolutely. So yeah, for right now, like I said, I do primarily host for you guys, ladies and gents, in your homes for any occasion, birthdays, bachelorettes, whatever the occasion. So just give me a call. We'll come. We'll shake up a ton of fun. But I am really excited to be partnering up with some local businesses, things that I have in the works. Kind of all over Bergen County, a little bit of Union, Hudson, Essex, and Morris. So if you're in one of those areas, reach out to your girl. Let's have some fun.
Awesome. Great. You have anything else for Leah from Jersey Drinks?
Thank you for making the drinks for us. Thank you for bringing us.
course.
I think this was a lot of fun. This was really cool.
Yes.
It was fun. Do you have any questions for us? Anything you want to ask us? Any last thoughts about the show? And
Oh, thank you guys for having me. I did already ask if you guys are single because I got a girlfriend of mine.
we appreciate
We
it.
are single. We are single.
We are single. I guess I
In the winter, I'm in like a hibernation mode.
All
I'm like a
right. They're
bear.
single and not looking to mingle.
The bear is coming out of the cave. When does it get warm in New Jersey? Maybe like
Oh,
May,
God.
April, May.
Yeah,
Never.
We're single, but we're focused on, we
Yeah.
tell the guys out there we're focused on our purpose, putting a dent into the world. Shout out to
amazing.
Rich Cooper for those words.
Amazing.
And just really, seeing how many lives we can impact and what we do in our personal lives, and of course here on the podcast, hopefully we get more people watching. Of course,
That's great.
Watching yourself as well. Realizing that here we're trying to do good.
You should. I commend you guys for that, right? We were chatting. You all have full-time jobs.
Yep.
And like I said, super impressive when I came in. I seen
Thank
your
you.
show. So
Thank you,
keep
thank
doing
you.
what you're doing. Like we said, inspire some of these younger kids. Just like
Yeah.
do what you love, follow your passion, and
Yeah. Heck
go
yeah.
for it. Go for it.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
We want to inspire the young youth and definitely the men and women of all ages in all sorts of things. So we'll definitely, keep it going and have a variety of topics that we discuss and cover.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again for having me. This is super
Thank
fun.
you so much.
Yeah.
The drink was delicious. Go check out Leah. What was your website and your Instagram
Yeah,
one more
drop
time
it.
for everyone?
Drop everything.
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at JerseyDrinks and www.jerseydrinks.com.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Leah. We appreciate you coming on the show, and
Absolutely.
hopefully, we'll have you back again sometime in the future.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Absolutely. Cheers. And thank you for the drinks. And guys, don't forget the podcast guys on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 1,600, so get us over that little mountain there, and let's keep pushing it. We're here to stay, and we're not going anywhere. So subscribe to the channel on YouTube, like the video, and follow us. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Spotify. We're all over the place, and support your boys because we're making it happen. So we'll see you next time. Peace.